Let's go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Exactly. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone, to our September Pelican Marsh Board meeting. Paul, you want to go ahead and take roll call, certification of form and proof of notice?
Sure. So we've got Joe Mulcahy, Brian McAdon, Keith Codlington, Frank Canistra here present, and Uwe Roper via Zoom. So that is 4 out of the 7 members present, and so we have a quorum.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
And then notice was posted in accordance with Florida statute.
Okay, I know Paul sent out the last minutes of, I guess it would have been July's meeting. They were brief because we had a very quick and efficient meeting. Did everybody have a chance to review those?
Yes.
Can I get a first?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I'll move on to the President's Report portion of the agenda. As you may know, and as I just said, we didn't hold a board meeting in August. We typically do that in the summer. There's not a lot going on, so we take 1 month off. So I'd like to take this opportunity to update the community on several accomplishments that we've had since our last meeting in July. As I mentioned in July at the board meeting, Courtside has made several, I think, positive changes. They've revised their menu, gone there several times, and I know that I'm seeing a lot more people there and a lot of people really enjoying the new menu with a lot of new added items. According to Susan, there's about 90 items total on the menu. They'd have a lot of crossover with a lot of things they're using, but the menu's, I think, really good and improved. We've extended the happy hour until 6 p.m. To remain competitive with other local restaurants. The music has continued on Thursdays evenings throughout the summer. And then beginning in October, Courtside will be open 7 days a week. And I expect Thursday night music will continue along with the additional bands on Sunday evenings as we've had in past seasons. Please mark your calendars for our annual welcome back party, which will be held on Thursday, October 30th at Courtside and the adjacent courtyard. As a reminder, we will no longer allow bring your own drinks at these large community events. The board made this change to support our Courtside restaurant. To accommodate everyone, we have ordered a portable bar and we'll be using drink tickets to streamline the process. I'll remind you again during our October board meeting, and Lynn would also include this policy in the party announcement again so that it's fully communicated and there's no confusion. Now, starting today and moving forward, our board meetings will also include monthly updates from each committee presented by their respective liaisons and chimed in by the chairman of each committee if they're here and would like to add further commentary. Over the summer, the Long Range Planning Committee, led by Peter Olin, has worked diligently to advance the ideas surveyed and supported by the community. As a liaison to this committee, I've attended their bi-weekly meetings and been very impressed with the group's collaboration and progress. Peter has joined us today and will provide a status update and presentation. Also in July, we announced the 7 new members of Court Sports Committee, now chaired by Chris Diorio. This committee held a kickoff meeting and a follow-up session to prepare for the season. And George Custis will provide an update on the progress since inception. I don't see George on right now, Chris, so you may have to jump up and give a quick summary. At this same meeting, we also requested volunteers to fill open positions on the Finance Committee. After many years of dedicated service, Joe Leone and Andy Spicer stepped down. And I want to sincerely thank both Joe and Andy for their commitment to the committee and to the community. The Finance Committee conducted interviews and selected 4 new members, bringing the group to 7. Brian will share details of the selection process and introduce the new members, after after which time the board will vote on their adoption. In Paul's manager report, following my comments, he will provide updates on new staff and new vendors hired to maintain the courts and the facilities. These new hires have performed very well, and we're pleased with the improvements. In addition, over the past 6 months, Paul and the executive committee have been working diligently on renegotiating our Comcast cable and internet contract. I want to highlight Paul's leadership and hard work, which delivered a successful outcome and substantial savings for our community. Paul will share details of that process shortly. With that, I'll now turn it over to Paul for his foundation manager's report and update on other improvements and additions from the past couple of months.
Thanks, Joe. So it's hard to believe that summer's about to end and we're going to start a new season just around the corner with many residents about to return. Here's George. I've got some charts to show you. Those in a second. So these charts just give you an idea how much activities slow down over the summer of the facilities compared to what the summer numbers are and levels. So this chart, the first chart shows the pickleball. You can see the blue indicates the number of unique or individual players that played that month and the total plays that came from those players for the month. You can see the numbers for June, July, and August, and you can see comparative to March, how much it drops in the summer.
Stable.
Same thing for tennis, showing the unique players, total plays, and then comparing March numbers to how much it dropped off in the summer. And then we got the gym, how much it drops off from summer or from season to summer. And then group fitness, which are the classes that we provide, number of participants and the number of times they used the classes. Spa usage. And then lastly, the activities and bocce participation. The blue indicates the number of people who joined the activities throughout that month and the number of bocce players that played. These reports will be available on the website if you want to look at more closely how the numbers fluctuate from month to month. Okay. Even though we slowed down through the summer, the activities, the staff was very busy over the summer working on projects to maintain and upgrade the facilities. We recently finished the installation of a new water and ice machine over at the Pro Shop, which includes new cabinetry and a new tile floor at the location. The installation of the patio with shade sails for seating along the west side of Court 7. We are still waiting for permitting to get started on that project, but we're hoping that project can be completed by the end of October at the very latest. And our biggest project this summer, obviously, was to paint the community center exterior buildings. As you can see, walking up to the buildings, that building project is currently underway, and hopefully that painting will be finished in the next few weeks. With season coming up, it is the best way for you to keep informed about the Pelican Marsh activities and events is to make sure you're registered on the Pelican Marsh website and have the Pelican Marsh app downloaded on your phone. If you happen to hear about events from your friends that you did not receive an email on, please check your profile on the website to make sure you have not accidentally opted out of emails from various departments such as the activities, court sports, fitness, or the courtside restaurant. And if you need help checking your profile for this to make sure you haven't opted out, please contact the admin office and we'll help you checking your profile. We added a new staff member. His name is Francisco Salinas. He goes by Frank. We hired him for the maintenance and upkeep of the court sports facilities, as well as help out with other maintenance issues around the community center to help out David, our other maintenance person. The daily grooming of the tennis courts now is maintained by a third-party company, which allows now for Frank to keep up with and allow more time with the other maintenance needs around the courts. On staffing wise, additionally, I have a milestone to report. Our fitness director, Patrick, hit his 20th anniversary with Pelican Marsh this past month. So if you happen to see Patrick, around the campus, please walk up and say, and thank him for his hard work and dedication over these past 20 years. He's done a great job for us. Lastly, please let the office staff know if there's anything we can do to help out, the issues you may have. And as always, the staff and I appreciate everyone's support that they give us throughout the year. And that's my report. Any questions?
Hey, Paul, did you want to just show the community the new lights are going to be put on after the painting?
It will be
When,
and later down the.
Very good.
Yes.
all right, thanks, Paul. Brian, go ahead and turn it over to you. Number 8, the treasurer's report.
Yeah, if Paul can just pull that up for us. Okay, so you can see through August, we have an operating surplus about $14,000. It's a little worse than our budget. We'll talk a little bit about that on the future bullet. Operating revenues, $12,000 better than the budget. Expenses pretty much on target. The big hit, as I've mentioned in prior meetings, is that we did incur $21,000 in income tax expense, not only for this year, but in the 2 prior years. Driven by the additional interest income that we've made as we've looked at our investments, how to better invest our funds. So it's a good story, but one thing that we had to catch back on was our liability there. Activity centers were $3,000 worse than budget. And then with courtside, we continue to trail last year by almost 9%. If you've noticed, though, over the past Treasury reports, this number has decreased over time. I do believe that the changes that Joe described in terms of their menu and also some changes that we're going to make in terms of being open 7 days a week again come season will improve on this number. You may also recall that a lot of that, some of that decrease was driven by the fact that they had a very successful Easter Sunday of 2024. And Easter was much later this year and didn't have the same type of participation, families going for meals. From a reserve and capital standpoint, we've had 59 net homes sold through August, generating about $443,000. We got an extra 0 there, Paul. Exceeding budget by about 12 homes. We want to just go to the next page. As always, all our financials are available online. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop me a note. Every couple of months, I like to step back, and even though this information's in our finance package that the community has access to, I like to just highlight it because a lot of times you just get the question, where's our money going? So when we look at our capital reserve and our projections for the capital reserve, I just want to give everyone a feel of where we've spent money last year and this year. So as you look in line 1, in 2024 opened with $438,000, funded about $130,000, and then spent a substantial amount of money investing in our pickleball courts, $370,000 this year, last year, $67,000 this year. Last year, we also completed building a fire pit, did some additional landscaping around the community center, installed a pergola and shading and fans by the bocce courts. So in total, we spent about $486,000 last year, leaving a ending balance of $180,000. This year, we've taken that balance and we funded another $140,000. If we stay on budget, I project that we'll fund another $135,000 in the last 4 months of the year. As I mentioned, we spent another $67,000 to finish the pickleball courts. Did some additional landscaping, line 10, security cameras. We're in the process of building the patio area off of tennis court 6. We did some additional seating around the pickleball and tennis courts. And we, as Paul mentioned, we finished the project on the ice machine and a little refreshment stand. So this year we project to spend $195,000 on capital items. That should leave us a balance of about $263,000 going into next year. And I would project, based on our replacement reserve, that we probably have about $187,000. At least that's what we're going to budget, I believe, going into the budget for capital spending addition for next year. And I highlight that because as Peter does his presentation, the natural question is going to be, where does the funding for some of these projects come from? So this is one lever that we will use. In saying that, I always want to stress to the community that our number one obligation is make sure that we're properly reserved for those things we need to replace. So this graph I've shown in the past. In red, you have funding. You may recall that we received a new reserve study this year, and we know that we need to provide $292,000 every year, adjusted for inflation, to meet our reserve requirements going out. And this actually goes out, I think, 20 years, Paul. We have a 25 years. 25. I'm just showing you the next 5 or 6. In green, you show the spending. Last year, we spent a lot of money on the roof and for parking. As Paul mentioned, this year it's about painting the exterior and replacing the lights. Next year, we're doing this room, the interior of the community center, updating that. In 27, we spent a lot of money replacing the tennis fencing around the courts. And then in 28, we have projections to replace gym equipment. Of course, all of this is dependent on the condition of the equipment. We obviously don't replace something that still has useful life left, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a feel that we are properly reserved and we continue to have that as a priority before we commit to capital spending. And that's, unless we have any questions, that's pretty much what I have.
Any questions? Okay, nice report, Brian. Thank you very much. As I mentioned in my president's report, we're going to start this month's board meeting going through all the committees and giving a quick update on, we're going to ask each one of the liaisons to give kind of a report out. And if the chair people are here for the respective committees, feel free to chime in with anything, the liaisons. Frank, I'm going to turn it over to you to give us a
Thank you, Joe.
update
It's good to be back.
on bocce.
Yes, bocce. I flew in Monday night and I'm flying out tomorrow morning. So it's good to be back for a short time. My name is Frank Kinestra. I am the liaison for the bocce ball courts, which, you pull into our beautiful campus in the parking lot and you see the wonderful pickleball courts, the tennis courts, the courtside. There's still a lot of people that don't take those extra steps and go back to the bocce, run beautifully by Dino and if Dino's here, or Dino and Denise, and a few others, Tina, everybody helps out. It's great. The issue that we're having is due to the exorbitant amount of precipitation that we've had this summer. The courts were inundated with lots of water. And when water sits still, because of course the courts don't have as much activity as they do during the season, we developed some mold and some algae. So with that, Paul, Joe, I think mentioned we have a new maintenance company called All Courts. We're going to use them to mix up the soil every day, whether it's used or not. The soil needs to be agitated. Still water is not good, right? So we're going to agitate the soil every day, whether it's used or not. That's going to help. But what we're looking for is some sort of protection from the building, such as a gutter, parallel to Court 1. The water is just gushing down onto Court 1. And I mean, it's a mini lake or a pond, if you want to call it that. There is a gutter, believe it or not, on the other side of the building, but there's not a gutter on the side that protects the bocce ball courts. It would only make sense, I think, if we can get some sort of gutter. I don't know the price. I'm sure it would be minimal. I know you're aware of this, Paul, and Joe, you may be.
In the works.
It's in the works.
Yep.
And that's good. So, so that's what we're looking at. If we can do that, that would help mitigate some of the problems with the water. But other than that, I mean, like I said, it's a well-run machine back there, thanks to Dino and Denise, so.
And season's gonna be kicking off pretty soon, where volumes are gonna start going up. 13th of October, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate the update, Frank.
Thank you.
Next up, George, if you want to give us an update on the.
Yeah, sure, Joe. As everybody probably remembers, not too long ago, we voted to create a new committee, Court Sports Committee, which combines the previous independently operated tennis committee and pickleball committees. Initially, there was some trepidation and concern about combining the two, but it seems that according to the committee, things have really gotten off to a good start. According to the appointed committee chairman, Chris DiOrio, nominated and voted to be the committee chair. The committee has been, in his words, very collaborative, cooperative, and they've accomplished a great deal in the first couple of meetings. Initially, first and foremost, we're happy to hear that a new combined court rules document, which will be posted on premise, has been created. First, of course, we have to formally vote on that. I think, Joe, we're voting on that next month's meeting.
Yes, we're gonna go ahead and post them. Now that they've been combined, there hasn't been really any change to them. There's a couple little tweaks. I'll just throw one out there. The committee came together and said, if somebody's playing tennis and they're walking over to the pickleball courts, they should change their shoes and make sure that they've got another pair of shoes so that we don't ruin the pickleball courts. So little things like that and dress codes and so forth have been added, but there hasn't been any real substantial changes. But we've added those two together. We want everybody to have an opportunity to review them, and then the board will vote on those so that they're solidified through a vote next October. Everybody will have an opportunity transparently to review them, and then we'll vote on them.
And they'll be displayed prominently so that, there's no question as things come up, as courts are being reserved or things are being scheduled, whatever, that, everybody's going to know what these rules are. And most of them are going to apply universally to both pickleball and tennis, although there's some exceptions that for some reasons can't be, combined, that they're separate. So that has been done. Chris wanted us to let you know that, to everybody know that the meetings, the committee meetings will be closed, but it doesn't mean that people cannot still submit their voice, any concerns and things they want discussed by the committee can be done via an email to courtsports@pelicanmarsh.com. And we encourage people to submit their opinions and ideas for each and every meeting. This is being done to prevent, an inefficiency, excessively long meetings, improve the productivity. In the past, I guess there's been times that, people come in to express something and just to get their point across or to provide the information needed to make decisions, it just took too long. So this is how things are going to be done moving forward. Some other things are being done to improve communications between the committee and the public. Acrylic stands are going to be put out with a list of events. Other fine points have been made with lesson rates, points programs, and then social events for Oktoberfest, Friday, October 3rd. It's going to be the second Oktoberfest. And all participants get a beer and a PM mug. I mean, if I were there, damn, I'd be all over that. So, so I think that's everything, Joe, with the Court Sports Committee. Any questions on that?
Is everybody able to hear George? Okay. Any questions? Chris, did you have anything to add?
Breast cancer awareness walk.
Chris just said, in case anybody's online, we're going to be adding the breast cancer awareness walk. Full weekend's list of events. So social event following at Courtside. Okay, I think what you'll see more is a lot more communication both ways. I actually walked up and saw the Oktoberfest sign and walked into the sports facility and signed up for that for October 3rd. But it took me 2 days to realize that the whole list of events were actually on the backside of the what do you call them? The flyers that are on the tables out under the canopy in front of the pro shop. So we'll be sending these communications out, but we we also want to stress that, you know, it's still going to be a very open and communicative and collaborative committee, but it's just going to be a much more efficient way to run this. If anybody has any comments, concerns, issues, they see things that need to be fixed or done, or if they have any ideas to improve the program, you can certainly walk up to us and mention it, but all of us are busy running on the courts, et cetera. It's just more efficient for everybody to just send an email to courtsports@pelicanmarsh.com. Okay. Thank you, George. Thank you, Chris. Next up is, let's see. I'm going to jump to Keith, CDD and County Projects Oversight Committee.
Yeah, good afternoon, Keith Congleton. I'm the liaison to the CDD Board of Directors at the County Oversights activities. So right now, we currently have 5 planned or active road or access projects that are in play that are going to affect us all over the next several years, not just this year, but years to come. You're probably seeing some of the activity associated with that right now. They are Galleria Drive repaving, the Vanderbilt Beach Road widening, the Tamiami Gatehouse replacement that's going to occur next year, Airport Pulling Road repaving or widening, and then Goodlet Frank ultimately be widened later on the end of this time horizon. So the status of each of these right now, Gallery Drive, if you go in and out of that gate, you've probably already noticed activity out there. They're working to improve the drainage along the side of the roads. They will repave the surface of the road. That'll occur sometime between now and the end of November. Not quite firm on the time to start that activity as they get all the other work in place done. They're also going to replace the gate equipment over there, put the new LED gate bars on that, as well as update the actuators on the gates themselves. So we'll have a lot newer equipment over there, a little more reliable, hopefully, and a little more up to date as far as the look goes. As far as Vanderbilt Beach Road widening, that activity is also planned and about to start here in the next quarter. You'll see some activity to the west of the gate as you go out along the edge of the golf course there. There's some drainage retention issues or work that needs to be done, and ultimately they will widen that road. That'll take about 2 years to get all of that work done, and that'll commence, like I said, Q4 25. You'll start to begin to see that activity hopefully done by the middle of 27. And then the Tamiami Gatehouse work that's probably going to affect us the most, actually that work is slated to start in May, and that's a wholesale replacement of the gatehouse. There is an artistic or architectural rendering of that new gatehouse look. I would encourage you, and I would encourage you to encourage your friends to please look at that gatehouse, make sure it's in line with your expectations. And if it's not, I know that the CDD board has been very open to feedback as far as the presentation and that and how it portrays the Pelican Marsh community that we want as a modern Mediterranean look and theme. That work, as I said, will take place hopefully starting in May, plan to start in May. They have retained a project manager for this activity because some of the challenges we had with the last 2 gatehouse replacements. That firm is located up on the Immokalee Drive Road. And I'll actually be, because Bob has allowed me to participate, I volunteered to sit down with those folks and talk with them regularly based on my project management experience, just to help facilitate communications with that organization, our board and the CDD board, and offer whatever I can in the way of insight and whatnot to help move that along. So appreciate that opportunity. And then that'll hopefully wrap up by the end of December of next year. So we'll get to see that before season starts. Airport Pulling Road will start when the Vanderbilt Beach Road activity kind of begins winding down. So we'll see that out at about a 2-year time horizon. And then Goodlet Frank about 2 years beyond that when they finish up the Airport Pulling Road activity. So we're looking at about 5 years. A lot of activity on the perimeter roads. Obviously, it's going to impact us all. We're going to have to be a little patient. In the end, hopefully we have a lot better traffic flow. As you all know, in season, it gets to be really testy around here. And I'm thinking in the end, this will be better for us, but in the short term, obviously, it's going to be a little pain to go with that. Okay,
All right.
Bob, any other comments, or Jim? You guys have been great bringing me on board here. I appreciate the support. Thanks.
Keith, excellent report, and I just want to let everybody know I got a very detailed email from Bob. Since he's been leader of the CDD, there's been just so much communication and collaboration, and we really appreciate that, Bob. Thank you, Keith. I'm going to jump to fitness now. Uwe, if you want to give us a quick update.
Yes, hi, I'm Uwe Roper. I'm the new liaison for the fitness committee. There haven't actually been any meetings this summer of the fitness committee, but they will resume very soon in the next few weeks. I'll be back in Pelican Marsh on October 9th, and I think Fiona is going to be back in Pelican Marsh on October 8th. And we'll resume those meetings. But if you recall from prior discussions and meetings about fitness, new equipment was installed not that long ago, so we have great equipment in the gym. There have been minor issues with maintenance, cleanup, and so on. The gym is used extensively, and especially in season, keeping the gym clean has in the past been a bit of a concern and something that the committee has kept its eye on. But more importantly, the committee had been looking at whether there were ways to kind of squeeze more space out of what we have, relocating a door here or there, try and make more room, maybe taking Patrick's office away. So the fitness committee had looked at ways to create more room because it is very crowded in there. Now, as you'll hear in a few minutes on the long-range planning committee report, the gym has been part of the 5 items that the long-range planning committee has looked at. So we'll hear some of those comments just in a few minutes. So what I will be doing with the committee is probably look at, instead of doing sort of shorter term quick fixes, I will be looking at what we can do to follow up on any recommendations coming out of the long-range planning committee with respect to expanding the gym facility. Expanding the gym facility was already recommended in a prior long-range plan. It was sort of superseded, not superseded, but it was displaced somewhat by other priorities. As you know, we built a pickleball expansion and some other projects, and that sort of took the gym expansion and put it on the back burner. What I am hoping is that this gym expansion will now become a high priority item. And I look forward to working with Patrick, Fiona, and the fitness committee, as well as my fellow board members to move that expansion of the gym facility into the foreground. So I expect the next year, or the next 2 years, to be a big year for fitness. Thank you, Joe.
Okay, thanks, Uwe. I wasn't a big user of the fitness center until I had my shoulder done, and now I've been going in as a regular person. And even though even though there hasn't been a lot of activity, you know, half a dozen people that are in there, I can see where we've sort of, you know, really consolidated the space, and it's really tight with all the equipment. So as a new user, I'm going to certainly be an advocate of us expanding the fitness center, because I can see where in season people are going to be stepping over each other. So that's something that we have high on the priorities. Thank you, Uwe. Okay. At this point, I'd like to call Peter up to the microphone. I know we have a couple other long-range planning committee members. I'm the liaison for the long-range planning committee. I've attended all the meetings. Peter's done an excellent job of leading that group, coordinating them, getting them together, keeping on task and agenda, and he's got a really good group of individuals. And I'm excited to hear the report. I've seen the report. It's been passed around to the committee members, but I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Peter.
Wonderful, Joe. Thank you very much. First of all, let me start off by, well, Peter Rowland, for those of you that don't know who I am, I'm the chair of the committee, but I think I also, it's very important to sort of introduce the other members of the committee who have been just really, really great partners. 2 of whom are in the room, Jake Ely, Tracy Caber as well, and not with us, but equally as important, and
great contributions have been Glenda Corwin and Leslie Corden. And I'm really grateful to have them as team members. They've been great. But also, I'd be remiss not to say that the committee has received tremendous support from the board. I think it shows a recognition of the importance of what we do and the partnership. So thank you to you, Jill, and specifically also Brian and we'd be remiss not to thank Paul, who's helped behind the scenes with a lot of stuff. So thank you again for your support as well. So the committee was formed back in the spring of 2025, and what we want to do with this presentation is highlights of the main work that we've been doing and sort of get us the details. As Joe mentioned, we were working over the summer on mainly the top five survey results, which were published in spring and in March, and we looked at it and tried to evaluate it through a lens of different criteria, so the ability to actually the fruition, the cost, things like that. And this report sort of highlights some of the things and a few other things as well, which we want to share with the community, give an update what we're doing and why. I think most important, we want to sort of get at the idea that we do have a plan. I think that's important. That I think it's something that the board is conscious on as well, is that we want to make sure that we have not just piecemeal fixes, but we're thinking long-term. And at the end of the presentation, I'm going to ask Jake to come up because he has been really, really fundamental in putting together the information we need to have an analysis of where we stand as a community compared to other communities which are in the area, and give you an idea of what the costs are, the availability and prices. And I think it's really crucial to understand that and why it's important to have this committee think about these things to support the board. So Paul did give me the ability to do the presentation, so let's move forward. All right.
Really shooting that at your computer.
Paul, you're setting me up for a bad joke here. Did it turn off?
Might be out of range.
Obviously, we need some equipment too for the long range planning, or we'll put that in the budget.
Be a top of-
Otherwise. It was working.
Is you shooting it up there, Paul, or?
No, it's just there.
Is it a battery issue?
Can you just tap on
Just
that?
advance.
Yeah.
Advance it on your computer?
All right, no problem. Thank you,
Well,
Paul.
sure.
We'll have to tag team this one.
No, we don't.
So if we can turn to the first slide, which sets up the ask. First of all, as I sort of mentioned, the first thing we're tasked with was to
It's not coming up.
look at
Oh, no, here.
the,
You know what, maybe because when I'm,
that's no problem.
or, you know what, honestly. Technical difficulties, 1 second.
Maybe some bridge music.
I don't know how much to try this.
Good choice.
Well, hey.
I don't know why.
There we go.
There,
Oh,
we're back. Oh, let's not get ahead. Let's not spoil it
alright.
for everybody.
There we go.
All right. So the ask, as everyone knows, we had the survey, sort of led by Brian, looking at the number of things we want the community. The top 5 results were published in order. We see negotiate the membership with a beachfront club to provide beach access, install pedestrian gate access to Mercado, expansion, modernization of the fitness facilities, nature preserve path, exercise trail, and indoor dining at courtside. So we, over the summer, have had individual work streams of looking at each of these 5. We've looked at liaised with third parties, liaised with the board, looked back at documents we've had, and we produced a report which we circulated to the board before this meeting, summarizing sort of our key findings, rationale, and things like that. So what we want to do this presentation is sort of give the highlights of what we reported to the board, to the community, so they're aware of what we've been doing. We also have a related project as well we'll touch into. So Paul, if you can advance, please, that'd be great. So the first one is the beach club access. This was, again, the number 1 thing. what we realized is that we already had an arrangement with Tarpon Cove, which existed prior to the onset of the COVID pandemic, which gave us a beach shuttle access. However, during the pandemic, it was, for obvious reasons, it was stopped, but it's back on. And so what it is it is access to the beach with their shuttle service. As you can see here, what we have is the partnership allows the use of the shuttle, but it's a bit limited. There's no on-site facilities, beach chairs, social events, what have you. But with that being said, number one, it is a form of beach access. Number two, it let us sort of pull on the thread. Well, hold on a second. If we have this already, why don't we think about expanding this? It's probably a better scenario than some of the other alternatives we looked at in Paraiso, which was 130,000 per individual startup, which may or may not even happen because I believe there's some issues with them, which are that. And so we thought, let's explore this. So one of the things we're starting doing is looking at, can we have some sort of reciprocity? And what we mean by that is specifically looking at the summer season months, which that period of time, there's opportunities to take advantage of the slower season and have members from both communities use each other's facilities. So in this instance, the perk would be, in addition to using their shuttle to access the beach, we can also use the courtside, their facilities in terms of dining, their pool, the things like that. On the flip side, they would have the opportunity, because they don't have pickleball courts, to come here to use courtside. So I think it works great for both communities during this low season because it offers opportunity to have more activities. At the same time, financially makes sense to fill the stopgap, be the stopgap, as we saw some of the numbers going down for the use of courtside. So if we can flip to the next one. So this is what we have currently. So we see at the top there, the clubhouse, and there's another slide after this, which gives you a better picture of what it looks like. You pull in there and there's a shuttle that runs, that goes there and goes down, and there is a dock below at the Wigan State Park. Now, the way it works at the moment is on the hour, at the half hour, is when it leaves from Tarpon Cove and goes down the beach. It's about a 15-minute shuttle, and on the way back, it's 15 minutes. So it departs on the half hour, and then it goes to the quarter of the hour at the dock, and then it comes back there. And it generally runs from the mornings, and during the summer season, it'll run till 3:30 and 3:45 respectively to come back. In the winter season, it's 1 hour longer. So that's how it is there. And if you want to go to the next one, Paul, that'd be great. And we see the facilities there. And the way you go in, I don't know if we can probably just bring up a little larger. Is that possible, Paul? For what? We can just zoom in just a little bit, just show sort of where the access is, because you basically, okay. Well, what it is that you would go in through sort of the main gate into the pool area, and the back is the gate where you go in, and the shuttle is waiting there. We also have some pictures after this. Joe and Brian joined me on a little expedition this past Sunday, so.
I mean, the key is they have a very accessible, large parking lot
They
that
do.
you just go park.
Yes.
Walk down to the dock, very easy to get on the boat.
Yep. Yep. Thank you, Brian. So as Brian was saying, with the parking lot on the right, so this is pretty well how it is now out of season. So there's opportunities there. You see the Tarpon Cove Beach House right clips. You go through there in the pool area in the back. You can see where the docks are, and that's where the shuttle is. So you take it from there and go down. And it's quite easy, accessible. I think people are friendly. And if you go to the next slide, we had that little
question.
Yeah, sure.
Is the beach access to the Wiggins State Park beach? It's not a private beach.
It's the beach.
It's
Yeah, it's a state beach. But the good thing is
Just want to make sure.
that because we're using their service, we're going through Tarpon Cove, there's no requirement to pay, and there's no fees. So it's a nice thing to have. But one thing to note, and because there is a bit of a walk from the dock to the beach, there's a parking lot. And so What they have a couple of volunteers. What they do is they have like a little shuttle, which you'd call ahead. I believe one of the people's name is Christine. You'd call ahead and say, we're going to be arriving. We have some extra chairs, or someone can't walk very far. They will come and pick you up. It's a free service, but it's sort of based on providing tips and just being generous.
Tips, you can Venmo them or Zelle them or hand them some cash, but you just call them up.
Yep.
They pick you up, drop you off, call them, pick them back up.
So if we go to the next one, there it is, that was our Sunday little trip. So that gives you an idea of the pool. Joe and Brian, they're in front of the gate. On the other side, we have a very friendly Captain Justin, first mate Aiden, who are always happy, talkative, and just really, really nice gentlemen. And we see the shuttle itself. We have, it's quite large, it's nice. Hopefully, if we can work through and have this reciprocity agreement, there are other activities, not just going to the beach with the shuttle. They have sunset cruises, they do a whole lot of things. So this is an opportunity just to experience something new.
Yeah,
think it's nice.
I just envision this, if we can build a partnership with them, it's just one other activity. You could say, hey, what are we doing today?
Right.
Let's run up to Tarpon Cove, grab a bite to eat. If you need to, jump in the pool, take a little 15-minute shuttle ride up,
Yep.
hang out at the beach for an hour, come back and go home. It's just another experience and something added, I think will be an added value to Pelican Marsh.
The nice thing is that we have this today. So even in the winter months, we're not talking about the reciprocal agreement. The state park parking lots fill up
Absolutely.
quite
right.
often. So if you still want to go to Wiggins State Park, you can
Yeah.
use this today. And the captain told us he only sees about 5 to 10 Pelican Marsh people a
Every
month.
couple months, yeah.
So
So it's being used. There's some smarter people than us that knew about this and that have been using it over the last couple of years. But I think it's a real perk, and I'm glad that we, surfaced this on the Long Range Planning Committee, because it surfaced this opportunity for us.
And to underscore, Brian, your point, we currently do have this today into the shuttle service all year round, but the nice to be have the reciprocity agreement this summer to have that extra
Yeah,
opportunity.
grab a bite
enjoy.
to eat, et cetera.
And for those that want to take advantage of it now, all you need to do is go to the front desk and ask for a pass. And then it'll be given.
Little piece of
Yep.
paper, drive up there, and when
Thanks.
you get on the boat, they ask for the piece of paper.
And they're great. So that's where we stand with the beach access. So we currently have it, but we're looking to expand it. And hopefully in the near future, I'll have something to present to the board. I've got actually hot off the press. I just reached out, spoken to the manager there. I should be getting some terms pretty quickly. I
Good.
can go through that,
Awesome.
reply to give them a little red line, and then I'll present the
Good.
board what we have. So if we can move on to
forward.
the next one. So install pedestrian gate access to Mercado. I think this obviously number two, putting aside this, we as a committee were very aware that it was popular, but there was also concern about people that were the residences that were around. For example, because we can see it's like Oakmoss Road, so we had some of the residents like egrets, you had some of the other ones that are around were concerned about parking, things of that. So to be clear, all that was considered. So the community should be aware, we heard you, we thought about it, and we were working on ways to sort of deal with that. However, what came up during the course of examining this is that Mercado's looking to build a hotel. I can see where the proposed location is. And this just at this point in time, among other things, creates uncertainty whether the gate can actually be located there, whether it has to be moved. So there's no real sense of starting something and then eventually have to move. But probably more importantly, what they were asking the foundation to do is preemptively waive a right of challenging sort of the design or things like that. And my recommendation was putting my attorney hat on, we cannot waive something we don't know anything about. I think that'd be foolish. We need to know what they're going to do, why, and things like that, because it would just be foolish to do so. So the idea is that we'll go see how the hotel gets built out. If we want to revisit it, maybe different location, but at this point in time, it doesn't make the sense to move with something which in itself, we'd be waiving rights in the future for something which could be very important. And second, we don't know if it gets moved and it'll be additional costs, and it's already expensive. So our recommendation was, let's just put this on hold for now. We can revisit it as need be.
Yep.
I wonder if I can make a quick comment to
Yeah.
Paul. From the Zoom, I'm on Zoom, as I think some other people are too. And we're not seeing the slides, Paul. All we're seeing is the first slide that's called long-range planning. Is there some way to show the slides that are being talked about?
Let's try it this way. Hold on a second. I'm gonna try.
Oh.
I wonder, let's see here. For those of you who've been to Mercado lately, you see that they're building out a green area in the middle of Mercado. They're in essence going to make that a stage center.
That's
And
right.
where this hotel is going is where they currently show shows and movies.
The big grass area across from, what is it, the Tequila,
Oh, that little Mexican place?
Rocco's.
Rocco's,
Rocco's Tacos.
and right across from that circle where the pub is.
Yeah.
That big grass area right there is where,
Into that
a lot
parking lot.
of times they have tents and stuff like that they set up for
Yeah, you're right.
different events.
Yep.
That's where they're proposing to put the hotel.
Uwe, can you see it now?
Yes, I can. I see, it says slide 2, install pedestrian gate. That's, I
Okay.
see.
Oh, Shane, you missed my collage of photos. Okay.
Well, we could put this presentation on the board, the website too, for people to go back.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's all good.
So that's where we are with the Mercado Gate. Again, we're going to put on hold for now. It doesn't make sense to put time and effort to something which is going to be changed irrespective of anything else, putting aside waiving a price. So the next one, which we as a board, which we as the committee believe that is the one that we should be focused on moving forward as our first priority, is the gym facility. So Uwe, you'll be happy about that. And among other things, we sort of walked back, again, looking at a number of different factors. One of which, as we always see, the gym facility is the most used amenity. Time after time, we see what happens when it gets busy. It's tough. It gets very crowded. And what Jake will get into and overall at the end of the presentation is the facilities themselves are one of the major factors which does influence values of homes and either buying potential buyers or those that even look to rent seasonally. I think a gym is important. And as the demographics sort of change and we are going to start getting a bit younger and coming into the Pelican Mart, I think that's a very, very important resource. So that along with the other factors of this has been looked at in 2023, we've really got an idea of what it would look like, projected cost. I think it makes sense that this is what would be the priority for the board to focus on. And I think from the feedback from getting from the community, they think this is something worthwhile doing.
Yep.
And I think this is number one thing. Now, sort of fun with that. Yeah, I think the next slide will go into a potential fun factor. Now, for those of you, some of you are aware, nope,
Hold on a second.
that's no problem. I'll just tee it up. That currently the board is looking to get additional parking spaces, because currently as we stand, and I'll go through, we have a couple of slides, we're looking at the actual the plans of the expansion of the gym looks like now potentially 1,000. So currently we can build up to 1,000 square feet of new covered space. That's what it stands now. The game changer potentially, if the board can negotiate sort of long-term lease parking across the street, across Pelican Marsh Boulevard, could potentially free up to another 2,500 square feet of new build. I think this would be a game changer for the community. I remember people were asking, well, what could we do if we had more room to build? Well, this is that particular opportunity we could do. So I think it's important that depending how the negotiations go, and I'll let Joe and Brian speak to that if they want to, how things are going, that if we're close to something like that, it might be worth just stepping back a little bit and waiting to see if we get that within a relatively short.
We should actually know something. Brian and I have been, and Paul have been working on, we've met with them
Guys.
twice.
Yeah.
We've gone back and forth with some offers to try to entice them to move along with us. We've offered them some money. They've come back with, in my opinion, higher than the community would want to pay. We've gone back with another offer. We're waiting for them to come back to us. Now, all this sort of negotiating and back and forth there's a caveat. That means that even though they may agree and they understand this, we're still going to need the community input to approve because it's a lot of money. When we got the estimates for the parking lot, it was around, what, Brian, 275,000?
Yeah, so we think
And-
it'll be about 400,000 to get it done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so, that's a big nut. I think that your mind starts expanding a lot more and thinking about the future. If we expand 1,000 square feet, we're gonna find a tiny little space, 1,000 square feet over there. We're gonna build out, restructure this building, and that's about all we can do. If we can get another 2,500 square feet, your mind starts to expand. You could actually go 2-story, move some offices up, really expand down here, and so that's where our minds are, but we can't do that without getting Pelican Marsh Golf to,
Yeah.
to come to terms with us. So Brian, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I would just add that if anyone knows anyone in the golf community or on the golf board, certainly Joe and I have stressed the fact that this is a benefit to everyone in our community. There's 50 to 60% of the Pelican Marsh Golf Club are also Pelican Marsh community members, so they would have benefit to any expansion of our amenities. So if you do have any relationships with any board members and you can have a nice conversation with them saying, "Hey, boy, we really would like to get this done." Joe and I have been working on this since December. And I think it's.
I mean, the conversations have been good, but it's like they kind of draw a line in the sand. We keep coming forward negotiating against ourselves, which is, I hate doing, and they just keep standing, their ground. And so,
We obviously don't want to put ourselves in a position where, the foundation for years to come has a liability that isn't warranted. So we're trying to do what's right, but this is a great opportunity for us if we want to do anything more substantial than this 1,000 square feet.
I even, one of our last meetings in person, I said to the president, you look familiar. Do you play pickleball or tennis? He says, no, I use the fitness center. And I said, well, this is going to benefit you and 50 or 60% of the, golf people that are golf membership, so we're trying to work with them as partners, and hopefully they'll come around. And like Brian said, if anybody can get in the ears of people on the golf course, either board or members, this is going to benefit everyone. It'll be a win-win.
Absolutely. I agree. And thanks for trying to make that happen. So tied to the plan, which we'll see, I think might be a prudent approach moving forward is we know we have 1,000 square feet. And I think what would be suggestions to the boards to consider if we do get it, to have sort of a plan saying, well, now here's the additional 2,500. Just we'll see when we look at the plan where we have the 1,000 to maybe put square lines or just dotted lines around. Here's the additional expansion if. So this way we have a one-time plan we can action. So if it's only 2,000 square feet, we know that there's 2,000 of the 2,500. So, but we can talk about that's something else in the back of our mind doing in stages.
Better doing this right the first time.
Having a big plan.
Having a bigger plan and
Yep.
taking the time and doing it right.
Exactly what we want to do. So if we can go to, I think the next will be, this is the current plan as we see. So we can see the men's room, what we're going to do. So I think we should just go to the next one, Paul, if we could, because actually it highlights what we're going to be changing. So this is based on the 2023 plan. I hope everyone can see that, especially those of you online. If not, please let Paul know. We can try to bring it up. So in essence, the new build would be what we see down on the lower left-hand corner. It would be the sort of the bike room. That's about 500 square feet. So that's where we say we're facing north. That'd be the sort of the northeast part. where we would build out the wall. That would be about 5 square feet of sort of the Peloton room, what have you. Then we have the part of the gym, which existing fitness facility. There's a little storage area. If you go to stay with the green, thanks, Paul, right over there. That would then be new offices, which we could have Patrick and whoever else is there. And then when we go to the red portions, which are highlighted, see, this is already built. So this is great in the fact that we can maximize the space we had. And Uwe, you've probably been thinking about this. I know I've spoken to Patrick about this before, about this idea. So these changes here are internal walls and so they doesn't count against the square footage. And yet, by just organizing a little bit differently and making a bit more efficient use of the space, it increases the size. So we're looking at right now, Patrick's old office would be moved to where the fitness facility studio area would be, that little corner there. We'd open up that little stretching room there. That would be opened up so big. And then I think one thing that I think it makes sense is to sort of open up the men's and women's locker room and use that more for the exercise space. I think at a point in time, it's great to have those facilities, but if you look at it, and Paul, you maybe could shed some light, I don't think, and we looked at this, that it's really used that much. People obviously.
Anytime I go in there, I'm the only one in there, and it's huge.
It's
So
great. but
we could shrink the size of
I
those
think that's the idea.
restrooms, those locker
Right.
areas.
And
Nobody uses them.
I think that's the thinking, maximizing it. And there are locker spaces. There are like lockers we can put elsewhere. People look at their valuables. But to your point, likewise, I'm usually one there as well. And then bringing out the entrance a little bit. If you just go down a little bit, so yeah. So bringing that currently just a hallway, but making all that would be open space. So it'd be a nice walk-in. You can see it's a huge space. And that's with the 1,000, and that's actually with the 500. So the question is now we have an additional roughly about 500, where we could play with. We can think about that. So the new plan proposal would have somewhere in there the extra 500, and then we can superimpose a potential up to 2,500 as if we get those parking spots.
Right.
That's something to think about. So that's the approach I would recommend that the board takes and putting this sort of together. So that's the gym, and that's, again, priority number one. We would recommend for the board to consider the future. So the other two, we have the idea with the proposal of looking into some sort of a footpath, exercise path. Oh, you're jumping ahead.
I'm sorry.
That was the big surprise, but all right.
It's jail space.
This thing has been very finicky.
Come on.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. Well, no worries.
All right, here we go.
So here we are. So we could see the proposal was we would like of having sort of a nature preserve path, walk path, what have you. So this, in fact, so if we can see where the red circled area is, that's currently all sort of wetland protected area. The idea that based on previous discussions with the South Florida Water Management District, they've looked at that area. Paul's involved with those discussions and those looked at. However, a couple of things, one of which, it's a low probability of success. The fact that they want to preserve this. Two, even the fact that it's a very low probability in itself is, well, is an issue and a non-starter, but the fact, even in connection with the application, would be very expensive, engineering studies, all these sort of things, just to ultimately be told no, is not really worth the time and expenditure. And then also thinking about it, when you would have potentially, it would have to be a form of a boardwalk in the middle of the marsh, and thinking of how already in the summer season, it's horrific to walk with all these mosquitoes and things like that. I don't know how appetizing or how thrilling it would be to walk in that. It just, so among other things, I just think
That one's been pushed off.
it's been pushed off. We can revisit it, but honestly, and
It doesn't seem to make sense.
it doesn't seem to make sense. In other words, I'm trying to put it gently. So at this point in time, and honestly, I do a lot of walking and jogging around the Pelican Mart, and the sidewalks are great. They're clean. And I also believe the CD's also doing upgrades and they're redoing some of the sidewalk, which is good, so.
I mean, it's a beautiful walk right along
Yeah,
Pelican, you know, the
yeah, the
boulevard,
boulevard
you know,
going
with the
down.
trees and everything
Yeah.
else. I don't know why we have to spend more money
I
for.
think that's the key, and again, I think people, when they look at what does the community offer, is it a nice gym, indoor facilities for dining, things that, yes.
Prioritizing this just doesn't seem to make
That's
cut.
in essence what we're
But
thinking.
you guys have spent a lot of time on it
Yeah,
to
well.
flush it out. We just didn't dismiss it. This was one
Oh,
that,
no, no, no.
so that was the
looked at.
reason for us to spend time on it.
Yeah. Again, these are highlight summaries. There's all details in the report, as you guys have read. So the other thing, the last one of the survey was indoor dining. So we currently have a form of indoor dining, as we can see up there. So issue came down was, can we make it better? And having conversations, other people with yourselves, also with Dean, having conversations, Denise, at courtside, we're talking about a number of stuff. It really is the issue of having some sort of a climate control, looking at how to avoid things getting too hot, things too cold, and still having some ideas that we're not sitting in a cave or somewhere in the basement because the shutters are down, or we have live music, you can't see anyone. I mean, that becomes an issue. So we've looked at, and Paul's been leading the charge on this, of having some sort of a compromise where the easy plug and play would be to have the shutters that come down, certain slats replaced with see-through sort of window compartments and things like that. Now, this is just a rendering. This is what Paul put together, thankfully for us to take a look at. We can tweak this, but the idea would be that we would be able to control better the cold, the heat during the fluctuations of the seasons, and yet still have it not count as part of new build foot. Because if we was put walls like that, like from my understanding, then it would go against our square footage, and that becomes a problem unless the board decides, if we get the additional parking, is it worth revisiting this and making it different?
Just so everybody understands, we already have the existing roll-down doors.
Yeah.
And so it'd be retrofitting those to be able to allow light to come in, and then adding a door. And Paul did an experiment where he stacked a bunch of boxes up, rolled all the windows down, or all the slidings down, and was able to control, and it was very comfortable in there. So if we add a door as you come in, you know, courtside along the wall there, and we, you know, and this would really only be needed in extreme hot and in extreme cold. Otherwise, when it's very temperate out, we want to be able to have those up to have the air flowing in and everything. This is just in the heat of the summer, and I think this would pay for itself because people would say it's comfortable over there. We want to come be with our friends, but if it's just too hot,
Yeah.
or if it's too cold, this would allow us to. So, Paul, you're working on estimates right now to present to the board.
Right.
Okay.
I just sort of build on those points, Joe. I think having spoken and with Susan, she said that's exactly it, is to have that ability. It'll bring in more people. I think it'll also tie in nicely when we have the reciprocal arrangement with Tarpon Cove. We don't want a situation where they say, you know, of course it's great, but goodness, we can't stand it.
It's too hot, yeah.
What's the point of having a reciprocity?
So then they come over here and different place to go and.
Right.
It's
We
like,
want to make sure
yeah,
that they have
wait.
experience, and then it'll create more opportunities for courts to be more successful, and then we generate more excitement. But one thing, and I know we sort of talked about this, I just want to note that there is one thing we need to consider as well, and also speaking with Susan, and also with Dino, is when the sun comes down, we're talking about late after early evening, that there's that period of time between it goes into the trees, it's direct sunlight. I think what we need to think about is that may not necessarily deal with it. Especially if it's a nice day, you want to have fresh air, but that sun. So the idea would be, and maybe Paul, something we can think about, is have that awning to come down a little bit. Or I think we also talked about potentially maybe a roofing or something to come down just to get that angle. I think that would go a long way, because that is also an issue, because when you're sitting at the bar and if you're looking west, you're getting direct sunlight and it's uncomfortable for people.
Yeah.
So that's something to also, I think, to keep in mind.
Okay.
So one related project which tied into us, and I'll hand it over to Jake to go through his findings and work, is we were lucky enough that the board has sort of reached out and talked to him, and we have a member of our community who is, as a landscaper, I think he's not going to retire, who's going to help the board, from my understanding, to have a vision. Again, it's sort of like the idea of we're doing with the gym, have a grand plan, and then we implement certain phases and process of it, of the overall landscaping community here at the community center. So what we have here, and thank you while we're putting those, is AI rendering of a couple of bombshell things would look like. So this is something that the community center, the board is looking at. We obviously are going to do what we can to support the board. We know this gentleman, we've spoken to him, he's outstanding. I think he gets it. And
Yep.
when we did that walk around, he knew, boom, exactly what.
So I saw him taking a walk the other day along Pelican Marsh Boulevard, and he said to me that, you know, he'll have something for us for the October meeting.
Oh, fantastic.
An
Yeah.
overall plan, costs, et cetera. And the nice thing about this is because he's plugged into this, you know, industry and everything else, he's got contacts to be able to help us
Yeah.
with getting the things that we need, you know, pavers, landscaping, pots, whatever we need, and he'll probably get us a substantial deal when we put this all together. But if you kind of think of this, not just around the tennis courts, but as you kind of come into the entryway of Pelican Marsh, you know, we've got those ugly pots as you walk up. I mean, just an overall plan of beautifying the, you know, I know Dino's been raising his hand to sort of beautify the area around the bocce courts, and all these things are going to help increase the values of our
Yeah.
of the overall community. So
Absolutely.
I think this is something on the list that we would all want to move forward on as well once we get a plan and we see how much it costs. And we can certainly do this over a couple of years. It doesn't have to be done all
Yep.
at once.
Again, when we have the plan, we can implement in stages. I
Yep.
think. So unless there was any questions, I'll turn it over to Jake for his presentation about some HOA values and things like that.
Thanks, Peter, for
All right.
your time and the
Thanks a lot.
presentation, and appreciate it very much.
Yeah, great job, Peter. I know you guys put a lot of work into this, so I think all the board members really appreciate what you've done.
Thank you, Rick. And thanks to all my fellow committee members and everyone that participated. Thank you.
Hello, Jake.
Those numbers are pretty small.
So it's an eye chart for everybody.
I sure. Yeah. You. So, over the past years, I've done this for several boards of Pelican Marsh. I think the most recent one may have been 2020, I'm not quite sure. But I did a couple of these comprehensive analysis previously also. Back when one board wanted to move the capital reserve fee from $2,000, if you could believe that, up to $3,000. So that's how long it's been. So the intent here was to determine the cost to live in Pelican Marsh and the value there is in it, so that we will continue to have a high resale value and the prices of our homes stay or go up. And so I took a look at 6 communities that, in my opinion, were most similar to Pelican Marsh. They're all in North Naples, and that was one of the criteria, was to be in North Naples. And the first line up there under the names of the communities, you'll see the size, like the number of front doors. 1,914 is Pelican Marsh, Kensington 565, the Quarry 900, Audubon 410, Vineyards 2700, Pelican Bay, the big guy, at 6,005, and Clark Reserve at 224. So those are the communities I chose. And if you look down the column for Pelican Marsh, you'll see that, for example, well, first off, the ones in gray, Kensington, Audubon, Vineyards, and Clark Reserve, those are the communities where you have to join a club or a sports membership to have any access to tennis, pickleball, bocce ball, or anything else. That's not the case here at Pelican Marsh, obviously. WCI set this property up in a different format where everything here comes inside our master HOA fee, except for golf. So if you look down the column for Pelican Marsh, you'll see, for example, tennis, 8 courts, and the word included. That means included inside our master HOA fee, no further costs for that. Couple comments about, do we have a separate golf clubhouse? Yes or no? Is there a community pool at the main clubhouse? Yes or no? And if you look across the pool line, all of our competitors have community pools at either the golf clubhouse or another clubhouse in the community. We do not. I've never found that to be a detriment, by the way. I've sold multiple properties, brought hundreds of customers, buyers through Pelican Marsh, and no one has ever said to me, gee, I really want to have a community pool. It may have been in the back of their head, but they never said it. So never been that big of an issue. Most single family homes have pools, and all of our condo communities have pools. Food and beverage, we all have food and beverage. And then you get down to activities manager. Yes, we have the best, but all the other communities also have someone who manages activities. Then the first yellow line says cost below our one-time or annual. And the first line is our capital reserve fee, also called sometimes a transfer fee. We are right now at 7,005. If you look across, you'll see Kensington at 25, the Quarry at 12, Audubon at 37. The Vineyards has none. 10 grand at Pelican Bay. And the big guy over there, it calls reserve 1% of your purchase price. Now, 1% of a $2.5 million home, that's a lot of money. And that's their transfer fee or their capital reserve fee. And then the next line down is master HOA fee. Right now for this year, we're at 2,083, and we are by far the lowest master fee of the other 6 communities. Only one close to it is the Vineyards. Pelican Bay is pretty close also at 2,675. And one quick note about Pelican Bay, they have a lot of people, $6,500, 6,500 people, residents paying into the community.
That's like it's over a $20 million budget.
Right. They have the beach, they have 2 beach clubs, they have a lot of things that of that nature, which we don't have. We are a bit limited at Pelican Marsh with space and land area to put different things. But
We have better people though.
other than that, we have better people, right? So other than that, we are certainly the low-cost leader as far as our master HOA fee. Now, Brian brought up a good point, so I tacked it in. You'll see that in a moment. But the line below that says, does this fee also include cable? Yes, except for the quarry. Quarry to every man for himself. And then below that is the court sports fitness initiation fee. So that if you look over at Kensington, for example, if you move into Kensington and you want to play tennis or pickleball or bocce ball or go to the fitness room, it's a $25,000 upfront initiation fee and yearly dues of $7,965. So what are we? We're at nothing. Essentially, it's part of our master HOA fee. Going across, you'll see also that there's another fairly sizable sports fee to join at Audubon at $62,500. It's 48 grand at the Vineyards and $80,000 at Colliers Reserve. Coming below that, then you'll see the next yellow line that says yearly cost for core amenities, the master fee plus the dues. We are still at 2,083. Kensington, 12,864. Quarry, 9,864. Audubon, 18,845. 10,700 at the Vineyards.
nothing more at Pelican Bay other than their master fee, $2,675, then $26K at Collier Reserve. Then I added in the cost of the CDD. So right now, we are at $1,593. I added that in at the suggestion of Brian McAdon because part of the master fee for those other communities is the community overall maintenance.
And that's included in our property tax bill.
No, not property tax.
No, I'm saying that's how it's, you may not see it,
Oh,
but the
yes,
CDD,
right.
you know, with our property tax bill of whatever it is, $5,000,
Right.
that number is actually buried in
Oh, yeah,
there.
right. It's
Yeah,
all there.
yeah.
The
It's included.
1,593 is on your tax bill for sure. So I gotta say, if you, even if you add the 2,083 plus the 1,593, we are at 36 something or other. 37 something or other.
Yeah.
That's a great deal. It's a great community. It's a great place. I asked Lori, my wife, when I was getting ready to come over here, what's the best thing you like as a resident about Pelican Marsh as far as the physical attributes of living here? She said, it's pretty, it's gorgeous, it's well kept, lots of big trees, and I love living here. So we also have the beauty quotient to add in. If you go in the quarry, it's nice. It's not like here. The same thing for Audubon, the same thing for, well, I'm being prejudiced now, so I'll, anyway. I put some notes on there about the golf dues. You didn't ask about that, but that's the comparison of golf dues and the other 6 communities. Any questions?
I think this will be really helpful, Jake. And when we get to the point of, you know, figuring out how to finance this whole thing, and how we compare ourselves when we're talking about the long-range planning
Right.
is, you know, we're talking about, you know, even if you, I have no idea what the numbers are, but I could just spitball them and say that we're probably maybe $2 or $3 million to do everything we wanted to do. And as Brian said, there's a lot of levers for us to pull. One of them is we've got money coming in from the $7,500 for the change of the, we've got, Brian, we have a loan we can tap into.
We have a line of credit.
Line of
but-
credit we can tap into, but obviously we're gonna have to pay interest on that.
Yeah.
We
I
could-
mean, we are telling a story today through different presentations, and soon Paul's going to talk about the new Comcast deal and
Right.
the opportunity we have in savings to the overall community. And there's an opportunity to take that savings and roll it into a building capital fund.
Right.
That will, in essence, over 6 or 7 years, pay for the new construction.
So when we get done with the whole long-term planning, you know, you obviously say, well, how are we gonna pay for all this? There's half a dozen things that we could do to make this happen, and we can certainly do it over time. We can do the projects over time. I've had a lot of people that have come up to me and say, you know, if we're gonna do this, let's do it now. There's some people that are up in age that want to be able to use these facilities now, and you know, and I'm of that same mindset. So we're going to be very mindful. We've got an excellent finance committee that will crunch numbers and give us different options. And so when we roll this out to the committee or the community in terms of a vote on these projects and how we're going to do it in a plan over time, this is going to be done very thoughtfully so that it's not a huge check burden on people in the community.
Question.
Jake, I have, I love this presentation that you've done. You did something very similar for the long-term plan 5 years ago or 6 years ago. And we were a competitive community then. We were a great deal, as you call it back then. We're still a great deal. I hear people express concern whenever we want to do a major capital project, like, for example, the gym expansion, and concerned about how we're going to pay for it. And then I see your presentation and I see this table, and all I can think is we can do this. If we want to do major projects, there's room in our economics. We can do this. The second thing that I see when I look at that table is when we do these bigger projects, property values are important. And I could see how the, let's say an expansion of the gym would actually add to property values. It would not take away. The increased cost on that table that you showed would still be minimal, and yet the impact on the property values would be very positive. Do you have any views on whether doing these capital projects would be of value to prospective buyers? Do you have any comments on property values and us spending money on pickleball courts, gym expansion, that kind of thing?
Potential
What's your
buyers are
view?
coming in, are they saying, I like this, I want this, all those types of things?
Yes, for sure. We are drawing, you've a younger buyer who is looking for anything to do outside or with fitness. We have a great place to walk. We're a great walking,
Community.
community, but nevertheless, they want to work out and not drive to LA Fitness or somewhere, but to do it right here. So yes, I think anything we do of this nature will add to our property values or the ability to sell a property in Pelican Bars versus going somewhere else.
We compete very well, or better than really any other community around here in terms of cost of amenities.
Well, bear in mind that some of these amenities, the quarry especially, and the vineyards and Pelican Bay, they have things we can never have. We don't have the land for it. The quarry has a big lake,
yeah,
a water ski lake, you
Yeah,
know.
we don't have, we don't have the Gulf of America.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, you know, yes, we are less expensive, but we have less that we're paying for
Right,
inside that number compared to other communities.
right, right.
But we have to sell on location, on beauty, and the amenities we have, and that's what does it.
Okay. Thanks, Jake, for the presentation. A lot of great work. Appreciate it.
So I was gonna make a comment to the board,
Yeah.
actually, about, I think this is great information, and I think we should give some thought to how do we communicate this to the community at large, so that everybody has the same perspective when we start talking about doing other big activities, because I feel this, I've lived in Pelican Bay, I know this is a much lower cost place to be, and the amenities here are on a par, basically, except for the beach club, obviously, with what Pelican Bay has to offer. In fact, they charge to play tennis every time you go out to play.
Mhm.
So I think it's important that we inform our community of the benefits living here, so that when we do want to add value through other infrastructure changes or other amenity changes, you know, it's a little less difficult to sell the ideas.
Yeah, I think that once we get this done, Peter, and we have an answer on the parking and we have a solid plan. It's all about in the presentation, you know, when it goes out, because we only have 50 people here in the room. I don't think they're gonna read the presentation on the website. We're gonna, you know, so it's all about marketing and communicating to the community so that we can get them to check the box and say, yes, this makes sense. So, thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
For those members on Zoom, oh, thank you. For the members on Zoom, I apologize for the technical issues for the beginning of the, not being able to see the slides. So I'll make sure I get that PowerPoint presentation from the Long Range Planning Committee out, emailed so everybody can see it in its entirety.
Okay, let's jump back in and try to wrap this up. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. We had a lot of good content, a different format, and I think this was time well spent. Brian, I'm going to move to, oh, hold on a second. Did I have any other liaisons? No, not yet. We'll come back to that. Brian, 10.1, approval of members of the Finance Committee. You want to take that?
Yes, we had many applicants for our two openings to the Finance Committee. We had determined, based on the quality of the applicants, that was to our benefit to increase the size of our committee from 5 to 7. I do want to just thank Andy and Joe for their 5 and 6 years of service to that committee. But I would like to recommend at this point and ask for approval of Denise Cluthy, John LaRosa, Ron Willa, and Scott Vender to be added to the Finance Committee. That is my motion. There's a second?
Second.
Second. I've met them, met all of them, and I think you're going to have a great team.
Yes, they're diverse backgrounds.
All bring a different perspective, and the
Yes.
members like Sandra and others that are part of the committee already, we're a great team.
Yep, so we have a motion, a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you, Brian. Next, Paul, you want to give an update on the Comcast renewal contract?
Yeah. All right, so our existing contract with Comcast, or the agreement, just has over 2 more years remaining on its term. Over the past 6 months, we've been working with Comcast to renegotiate the agreement to hopefully lower the cost and improve customer service. Initially, Comcast came back with an initial offer, which we rejected, and another second offer, which we also rejected. We asked them to do better on the rate and other service requirements. Finally, Comcast came back with a third offer, which was reviewed by our cable consultant and our attorney, and we agreed it to be a fair and good renegotiation of the current agreement. So what they have proposed to us is to offer a 6-year extension, which would lower the current rate we are paying per unit, which is $97.96 per month per home, lowering it to $79.99 per month. This new rate would also be extended to the final 2 years of the current agreement. Additionally, Comcast would also be providing an upfront rebate of $382,000 to offset our cable expense over the next 8 years, which is basically the last 2 years of the existing contract plus a 6-year extension. This new rate will save Pelican Marsh about $430,000 per year in bulk service fees, which we're paying now, which also equates to a savings of around $3.4 million over the course of the 8 years. So this new rate will include 4 cable boxes per home, and homes that want additional cable boxes will be charged $10 per the additional box. For comparison, with this new rate, we'll be getting from Comcast in 2026, including taxes, will come to about $82.25 per month. Those same services from Comcast, if you purchase them individually on the retail market, will be over $200 a month. So that's a big savings. On the service side, Comcast is also committed to roll out a new program by the 4th quarter of this year, where when you call Comcast from the phone number you have registered with them on your account, you'll be able to reach a live agent without having to go through all the automated prompts that you're required now, which we all know are very cumbersome to use. In November, we plan to bring in Comcast so they can provide a workshop on how to find out what your phone number is and how it's registered, so you can find out what that number is, and also to tell you about how to download the app so you can also check your account and for services and other things to better monitor your account. One last point I want to make is Comcast is currently upgrading their current modem router in each home to provide faster internet speeds and services. So if you've not registered for this upgrade, please go to the Comcast, Pelican Marsh website, or stop by the admin office where there are instructions you can get on how to schedule this upgrade. Because the sooner you get this new modem router in your house, the sooner you can get faster speeds for internet and also communication with your TV. Any questions on the Comcast contract?
No, great job, Paul.
Outstanding. I just want to reiterate, as we are now in budget season, we're preparing the budget for next year. We have a rare opportunity to keep our expenses relatively flat and take the savings that Paul negotiated and build a building capital fund. We could set aside $300,000 a year, cover all inflation increases that we anticipate within our budget, and still have a slight savings of $30 a household. That's what the budget that we're working on currently would yield. So I just want to plant that seed that as we think about how to do a $2-3 million building expansion, it's right in front of us.
Yeah.
Without any increase to the low cost expense that we have in our HRA fees that Jake presented, we can still maintain that and get this project done.
Yeah. Okay,
So we need to get a motion to, and
yeah.
second to approve renewing this contract.
I motion to approve the contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's approved. And then lastly, 10.3, Paul, do I have one?
Yes, so we have one residence in the Arbors that is just doing their pavers on the driveway. The committee's looked at it, the pavers were inconsistent with our guidelines and just need official to approve.
Okay,
Motion to approve?
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And while we're on the design review committee, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the committee for their time and research in helping us select the new color being painted on the center right now, and also for selecting the new coach lights that will be installed after the painting's done. And I've got for those here present, on the back table there, that's the new coach light that will be going on the buildings. You can put it in front of that
On the table?
table there.
Just walk around.
Do we have any,
Yeah.
okay.
So, look, the new lighter color is really complementing the bronze roof we put on last summer, and these new coach lights are bronze, which will really tie in well to give the building a great new updated look.
Do we have any other board member comments before we sort of wrap things up? One thing I did want to mention is, I've been here for 20-some years and I'm still learning, all the time. I don't know how many of you know about the app that you can install on your phone that you can add guests and vendors without calling the gatehouse. Somebody brought this to my attention. It's actually if you buy a house here, it's in the packet. There was probably an email sent out to do this. It's called ISN Resident. It's an app that you can put on your phone. I would think that I'm one of these younger people that is, have all the apps, but this is something that you can put on your phone and allow people to, you can put long-term guests on or short-term guests on, that sort of thing. It's very easy. The instructions are, you can actually find them on the website, or you can go to Monique and she's got a printout of that, or you can ask me at courtside and I'll show you how to put it on your phone.
You just need a username and password.
I'm sorry? It's called ISN Resident, and I can show you how to install it. Any resident comments? No? Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Let's just look online
Okay.
real fast.
Okay, there are just earlier questions about the
I
slide.
asked at the guard gate and they seemed like kind of clueless. Oh, did they? Okay. I asked and that whoever was there didn't know about it. And it's only been around for, last couple of years when they updated the gates, so. Okay,
If there's an easy way to do it, Joe can walk you through it.
I'll walk you through it.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes, motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great meeting, everybody. Thank you
Yeah,
very
thanks.
much.
Excellent.